All right, cool. Josh, are we in a bull market? And if so, when can we expect the top for Bitcoin?
We're absolutely in a bull market, but we've already had an incredible move so far. And what I start to look at this point in the bull market is the number of days that we are moving in our parabolic phase. Now, when we got into the month of November and we actually confirmed a breakout of the previous market high top, that's when we confirmed that we were now entering into what is referred to as the parabolic stage of Bitcoin. However,
Mhm.
the first month of November was followed up by something that we've never had before in any of the other timeframes that were similar to the moment that we were in here with Bitcoin, and that was a monthly red candle. The month of December for Bitcoin was a red monthly candle. And typically, when the market is going into its parabolic phase, it is only printing green candles. And even if the green candle is small, it still has always printed a green candle. So I'm going to answer
Mhm.
you, Myles, by telling you that yes, we are absolutely 100% still in the crypto bull market, but Bitcoin has done something that it's never done before, and it printed a red candle on the monthly time frame in the parabolic phase. And so we have to respect what the charts do. And if they're doing something different, then we can't assume that we're going to do exactly what we've done in the past. Now, we've got a lot going on, but the bottom line is we're not out of the bull run yet, but we do have some signs or some cautionary signs in the chart that we absolutely need to be considering when we're looking at our crypto investments.
Most definitely. And in terms of, you mentioned that there's a red candle on the monthly, even though we're in the parabolic phase. Is there any line in the sand for you where it's like, if Bitcoin goes below this level, then
I
I'm just
got you,
gonna have to
brother.
call
I
it?
got you.
Yep.
I'm prepared. I've been looking at this chart, and you didn't give me the
Mhm.
questions for this interview in advance, but I got an answer for you on that, brother. So the
Perfect.
answer is really 90K. So we're getting this
Mm.
consolidation shelf. We're getting this consolidation shelf, which could be good for Bitcoin because if we consolidate and begin to make some higher highs, and where we really need higher highs is actually in the momentum end of the chart. But that's a different story. I'll come to that in a minute. But what we've got going on is we're building a area of consolidation right around the low of 90K. Now, what this could do is if the sellers wanted to push the price significantly below 90K after having built a base of support or an area of consolidation slightly above 90K, this could become a very hard wall of resistance moving forward. And so
Yeah.
I would just tell you that as far as being bullish, we don't want to see any month close beneath 90K. That changes everything about the bullish narrative of Bitcoin. And what I can guarantee you, okay, what I can guarantee you is that we are in a whipsaw, uncertain moment. And where I'm going to tell you that the market has never had what the market's never had before when it's been in this type of moment is the potential of a bullish Bitcoin president who could take his power and do anything with it, create Bitcoin as a reserve, or begin to announce through executive order that they're going to buy Bitcoin. And this would absolutely cause us to take off. And so, but I would say that as far as an investment mentality towards crypto goes, we are seeing more bearishness in the last 2 weeks of December and the first part of January. It's been nothing but bearish, and we just need to be on higher alert.
Mhm.
Obviously, the market's fallen into fear. We actually haven't come down as low on the fear gauge as we can. And I like to be a buyer when the market is in fear. But so at the moment, it would be beautiful if we were enjoying the parabolic phase of Bitcoin, but we're not.
Oh, yeah.
We're not enjoying it because it's not holding up and we're not going higher.
Yeah, definitely not enjoying it, but like you said, like I like buying during these times too, and just have the hopes of being able to get a second opportunity to buy things low. But we're obviously optimistic in this parabolic phase. So let's say someone comes to you says, "Hey, Josh, I bought when you said bought low, and I was able to 3x my investment account." Ended up pulling out, let's say 80-90%. They're sitting on like six figures of cash and they don't know what to do with it for the next year, preparing for the bear. What should they do to preserve their capital and not just keep cash and have it die to inflation?
That's a very interesting question. Let me process that for a moment and talk about my own journey in crypto and what I've done. If you've been
Mhm.
a long term viewer of the show and you've caught the majority of my videos, it was actually right at the beginning of November. I believe the exact time frame in which we had broken above 100,000 and we hit around 104. Okay. I had a bunch of crypto that I had bought and had been holding. Some cryptos that I had bought in the winter, I had already sold. Most of the legacy coins like ADA and um, you know um, Mana and a number of them I had already sold and had been rolling them into what I would refer to as the faster moving cryptos or the new cryptos for the new crypto bull run like Ondo and Sui and Celestia and different ones like that. But come the when Bitcoin initially crossed above 100,000, very exciting moment. And I did expect, based on past performance of price action, when Bitcoin had crossed above 10,000, I did expect that there was going to be a war at that price point because there was a huge war at 10,000. It didn't just
Mhm.
fly above 10,000 and keep running to 20. Okay. So 10,000 was a huge psychological barrier of resistance. And I had a figure that 100,000 would serve to be a very similar area of resistance. It's super cool that we got there. But when we got that initial pump over, I came out on a Stock Squad live that's me, Stock Up with Larry Jones, Keenan Grace, and Stockmo. And I said, hey guys, I'm going to announce something very controversial. I've sold all ALL, all of my altcoins. And I think I did shock everybody. And altcoins did continue to go up for the next couple weeks. And what I told everybody I was going to do was that I was going to take a smaller portion of my capital, largely just 10%, and I was going to actively day trade it, scalp trade it while we were in the middle of a very volatile environment, but that I had locked in all the gains of my alts. And of course, I got the usual, mocking comments like, "Oh, you dude, you just sold all your alts at the beginning of the altcoin season, right?" And part of me thought, did I just sell all my alts at the beginning of the altcoin season? Did I?
Yeah,
I
the
mean, was that
FOMO.
just the stupidest thing I could have done? But the problem I was having is that I was up 200, 300, and 400% in some cases. And so I made the
Yeah.
decision both to sell and lock in profits and to communicate that. And I thought, well, I could be creating an embarrassing moment for myself that I literally sold a week before altcoin season took off and Solana goes from 260 to 460 and Sui goes up to $10. But like I said, I had a certain percentage of gains in. I had held these. I had made wise decisions. Now, took a little bit, and I had an incredible swing trading month. I did right around $700,000 from mid November to like the first week in December. So
Oh,
I took a
wow.
small $53,000 portfolio and turned it into 700,000 in around
Mhm.
3 weeks. And I had my eye on $1 million, and I thought, wow,
Yeah.
I'm crushing it. I mean, I'm killing it here. I'm gonna make $1 million a month in this crypto season. Well, just to tell you how that month ended, I did do very well, but I had some. The more successful you are, the more you tend to risk. Now, what am I risking?
Mhm.
I was only risking $53,000 out of a huge crypto portfolio that had just been put on the sideline. So, as I said, I sold every position I had and I put it on the sideline and I took $53,000 to begin to speculate with it. High risk plays. leverage high risk plays. Well,
Mhm.
that did very well. Now, in the end, I did lose. I didn't finish that month with that 700,000. It pulled back to 510,000, and I have slowed down on my my trading a little bit. I've
Mhm.
recently begun to press back into my crypto trading, but here's what's happened: every single one of those altcoins, I think, except for Sui, every single one of those altcoins I sold are lower
Mhm.
today than when I sold them in November. Okay, every
Oh, wow.
single one of them are significantly lower today than when I sold them, and so it did turn out to be the right decision.
Mhm.
And now the question is, what's going on with Bitcoin? What's going on with the altcoin season? Well,
Mhm.
it's gotten extremely volatile, and even if we pick back up, goes more to your question about people, what should they do right now? Even if we pick back up, you're still buying a lot of alts at a premium, and so you have to have super high conviction. And so far, before the Trump inauguration, it's been sell the rumor, and it might be buy the news. Right? People are
Mm.
not giving this
Interesting.
inauguration or Trump the benefit of the doubt, or that he's going to get Bitcoin, to all-time highs, or they already did when he got elected, and that's what got us to 108. You follow me?
Yeah. Yeah, I follow you. So I actually wanted to ask about you kind of briefly touched on it in the Sui network and your trading and whatnot. That seems to be something new, that relatively new that you've been doing that those swing trades with on Sui. Can you kind of go into what got you into those meme coin trading?
Well, I had been buying large positions, six-figure positions of altcoins. Back in September and October, I had taken a very large. So I've been presenting Sui on my channel from 50 cents, and then I had a fateful
Oh,
video.
wow.
Um, I can't remember the exact date of it, but I literally said, I'm begging you guys to buy Sui. It was at 73 cents. And I made the video. I kept throwing back at people. They were saying, well, what about ADA? What about XRP? What about, and I was a live video, and I said, guys, stop it. What about Sui? What about Sui? Buy Sui. If I'm here making a video about Sui, stop asking me about, ADA and mana and
Yeah,
sand. I said, just stop it. Stop it and buy some Sui. Well, we know that Sui has exploded. It was 73 cents on that
absolutely.
video, and it's hit $5 recently and above. And so now what I'm saying is that in the middle of November, um, that's when I was taking profits on my buy and hold and accumulate strategy. And because, and I'll answer your question, Myles, because I had locked up all this cash and it was sitting on the sidelines, I thought, let me take some of my rewards, let me take some of my profits, and not a lot of it. I mean, it was 53,000. Let's take some of this profit and let's just be
Mhm.
crazy speculative with it. And that led me to accomplishing something that I had never even attempted or even knew that I could accomplish, which was to turn
Mhm.
that 53 into 700,000
Oh,
in
wow.
3 weeks. And I will tell everybody that I was highly speculative. I was high risk, and I didn't want to lose the 53, but in a way,
Yeah, of course.
I was willing to lose the 53. I was going in very risky moves day after day, and I had I had at least three $100,000 days, between 80 and $100,000 days of profit. I posted them in the Discord. There's at least two posts there that show 89,000 or 85,000, 89,000. I had been up around 100,000, but when I actually went and took profits, it was the profit taking on those days was around 84 to 85,000. So I posted that journey in the Stocks with Josh Discord, but it was
Mhm.
because I had locked in all those profits that I took some and began to be speculative. Now, to be honest with you, after I had found that level of success, kind of pushing myself a little bit, I thought, well, let me do it again here. And I have begun to take a smaller amount of profit off of that pump that I got in November. And I'm sort of restarting another trade journey to see what I can accomplish here
Mhm.
in the month of January. But I'll tell you something, all of my winning trades have been shorting crypto. So taking taking positions to
Mm.
the downside.
That's interesting.
And you know, in the winter, when the decline phase and the winter come, you got to remember. And I don't know, there's a lot of new crypto investors out there that are absolutely brand new. And
Mhm.
first of all, I will just debunk some of the lies in crypto space, which is that this time will be different. That's nonsense. No time is ever different. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people tell me when I've had experience.
Funny.
I am 50 years old right now. I've got a little bit of life experience. I can't tell you from whether it's money or personal scenarios, things that I've seen, and I've taken time to go talk to a close friend, and the words, "This will be different." It's different, Josh. It's never different, my friends. It's never different. You know, so yeah, you got to be very careful about risk. And I'm prepared. My money's already locked in. It's on the sidelines. I'm now taking
Mhm.
more speculative risk, which is leveraged crypto trading. So my original money invested back in 2022, I was calling the bottom. I happened to have called the bottom very clearly on a a Stock Squad live event with Stock Up, Keenan, and Stockmo. I can go back and find the video, and it was right after Bitcoin had hit right around 17,500, and everybody that day was was bouncing the question around, where's Bitcoin go from here? And you know, there were people saying on the show that it could go down to 10 or 12K. And I came out very boldly and said to everybody that day, I said, nope, the lowest point has been booked. It's up from here. And so
Mhm.
I've made bold calls, and I've made them correctly. I don't believe that the top is in right now. I think there is a pretty large possibility that we could get to 116,000. And that's what I'm eyeing. Okay. Now, somebody
Mhm.
will say, well, Josh, are you saying that Bitcoin will only hit 116,000? No, I've got to take one level at a time. All right. And the two levels that I'm
Right.
eyeing is I want to stay above 90K on the low end, and I'd like to try to hit 116. Now, if we get to 116 and we break above it, well, then I'll figure out where we're going next. But right now, I've been making more money shorting cryptos than I have been going long, and I'm not buying and holding any big long positions. I'm not a bag holder for anybody. I'm not part of any
Mhm.
army. I've actually been making a ton of money. I've clowned on the XRP army for years. But what's funny is I have officially joined. I don't think that I joined the XRP army. I think they joined me when XRP started to win.
Yeah.
But when XRP
That's
was between 59 cents to 60 cents, acting like a stable coin, I ignored it. I wanted nothing to do with it. And I'm still, and that's fine. I made the right call. My money was going up huge in other plays that were running. But when XRP started to participate, I jumped on right away. And believe it or not, my number one traded coin in the last 30 days has been XRP, both to the upside and to the downside. So right now,
mhm.
I wouldn't call myself XRP Army, but I'm definitely in the XRP camp, you know, hanging out in the XRP chart
Funny.
every day.
That's funny. So back to the meme coins and the speculative plays that you were talking about and how you were crushing it. Can you kind of walk us through how you were able to pick the right plays and exit them properly to make such a massive profit?
Well, yeah, I'm going to share it with you, and it's not going to sound like such an amazing secret. And maybe some folks won't even like what I'm getting ready to tell them, but it is the truth, and it is the way that they could also be successful. It's really
Mhm.
basic charting and liquidity. And so let me explain it to you. Honestly, I could have taken
Mm.
any single crypto in this November, December, and January environment and made good money off of it. It got a little bit tough to make money in a window right around Christmas time because liquidity seemed to have slowed down. But it's the liquidity in the crypto market that makes it possible to make so much money. And I gave this illustration, and I think you'll love it, Myles. I gave this example doing a live trade session, which I do on the Stocks with Josh Discord on Wednesdays and Fridays. I live trade with the community. And after we had made a couple calls, I started talking about how much more money I had made on an XRP trade that morning than I had the SPY. So I showed everybody that that morning in the first 2 hours of trading from 9:30 to 11:30, the SPY had moved 0.25, so a quarter of 1%. Okay, so the SPY had moved 0.25, a quarter of 1% in the 2 hours that we had live traded the SPY. Or, I'm sorry, the SPY had moved that much while we were live trading it. While I was doing that on my phone, I was running some XRP trades, and XRP that morning in the same 2 hour window had run, I believe it was between 4 and 5%. Okay, so the SPY had run a quarter of 1%, and XRP had run around 5%. And what I want you to understand is that XRP and all of crypto right now has way, way more liquidity and price movement. And wherever you have price movement, I just can't make this more clear. It's not the winning crypto. It's wherever crypto is moving, you've got the opportunity to make money. And so honestly, on the day that there was liquidity slushing around in XRP, there was liquidity slushing around in a lot of cryptos, and you could have chosen any of them and found success. So it's more about liquidity than finding the right crypto. It's knowing what to do in the environment of liquidity that we're in.
And so are you looking at the liquidity to enter and exit or just to enter?
Yeah, it's the liquidity that's enabling me to both get in and get out. And I'm using leverage. So, for instance, if I'm putting in $20,000 of capital and I am doing a 10x leverage, and this isn't for everybody. Matter of fact, I'm 100% certain that the 99% of people that don't have a high skill level will just get wrecked doing crypto futures. But I've done this long enough that it's an area where I have been able to operate with my disciplines. But if I put in $20,000 and I 10x it, now I have a $200,000 position. So if I put $200,000 on XRP when it's in an extreme oversold position, and XRP is moving roughly 10% to 12% every 6 hours, once it gets overbought or oversold, especially if it's in a little bit of a sideways channel, if it's still moving 10 or 12% and I catch even 5% of that move, I'd have to quickly do the math, but 5% of 200,000 is going to be $10,000, I believe. So in a couple hour window, I just made $10,000. And if I happen to take a larger position, let's say I employed more capital, I employed $40,000 and took in $400,000, and I made that 5%. Now I've made 20 grand. And believe it or not, you could do that 3 times a day. Now, that's how I moved the $53,000 account to $500,000 in 3 weeks. Is I was making on average, my weekly goal when I started was $60,000 a week. But then I started having $100,000 days because, again, it really helped that I didn't need any of this money and I hadn't planned on it. And it was all money that I was speculating from profits. That's a very unique environment. And psychologically, it set me up to be very comfortable taking the high risk. Now, if I had to, put the rent money in, or I thought, well, I'm going to do what Josh is doing. I'm going to put $10,000 on a credit card and I'm going to go attempt this. You're
Yeah.
gonna panic sell. You're not going to be able to do it. Trust me.
Absolutely. I always tell people that only bet money that you are willing to risk, even if it's in Bitcoin, even if it's the SPY, it don't matter. If it touches the market, just expect it to go to zero. You know what I mean? Only put up money that you're willing to risk. And I like how that's the approach that you took. You took the 53 that you had already made in the market and said, you know what? Let me be risky and gamble this. If the 53K goes to zero, goes to zero. But it didn't. It went to 700,000. And now you could just take those profits and just get as degen as you want because you're pretty much playing with house money at that point.
Yeah, I had a long walk and talk with my wife, and we were chatting about the success that I was having, and she gave me the wisdom, and she said, and she reminded me, there's really no success unless you pull some money out, and and I agree. When it comes to this type of speculative trading, I would say every week or every month, you want to pull half out. And because the human nature is to go, okay, well, if I turned, if I turned 50,000 into 500,000 in 3 weeks, well, could I turn 500,000 into 3 million in 3 weeks? And the answer is possibly yes, but you could also blow your account. And so, there's so much discipline. I've told this story. I'll tell it to you real quick, Myles, because we're doing this interview. That when I first
Oh, all
started,
right, let's do it.
I first started investing or trying to learn Wall Street, back. It was really depending on what time frame you're looking at it. I was looking at Wall Street in 2000, so 25 years ago. But I really began to actively day trade in right around 2007, 2008. And at the time, there was no YouTube. There was no learning to chart from people that were illustrating it on social media. You had to go buy books, and you had to drive in your car from, there wasn't a Barnes and Noble in the city I lived in. So I had to drive down 20 minutes to another city to get to Barnes and Noble and look at the charting books or the Wall Street books in the investment section. And I started, piling them up. And then you go back in the day, we used to go to the Barnes and Nobles and you would grab like 10, 15 that were of interest. And then you'd go sit in the cafe, get yourself a coffee and look through them and evaluate which one you wanted to buy. And I remember being very annoyed as I looked at all the books that were available. I was trying to look at books that would teach me how to trade and teach me how to chart. And most of the books were psychology. And I'm like, what are all these stupid psychology books doing in here? I mean, it's like, I just was like, people, what are they having? What do these people need? Therapy? What are they having? Emotional problems? I need someone to teach me how to trade. And eventually, in the course of time, I did learn the charts and have become pretty good with reading the charts. And I've been called, Josh GPT, the chart whisperer, the chart goat. I mean, I'm pretty decent at reading the charts. But you know what? All of a sudden, as my success began to grow, I began to realize that it's not knowing how to trade that is a problem, and it's not the lack of knowledge of charting that's the problem. It's my greed or my fear that is the problem. So you are the problem. And so when you've been trading for 10 years and you've actually begun to find success, all of a sudden you're like, I need to read some psychology books on investing. I need to read some in psychology of Wall Street, because you begin to realize that your biggest mistakes come from either your fear of missing out, or, your greed, or your fear. You know what I'm saying? These are your emotions. You're literally constantly, every single trade, unless you have a trade plan, these emotions will become part of that event. And so that's why, I was listening to my wife and she said, you got to take half of that out and keep going. If you could do it with 50, then you can still do it with 250. So take half out and we'll put that somewhere and just keep investing with a smaller amount of money. So, I'm going to tell you that, I've been at the stage for a long time where I don't need any more charting books. I mean, I still do charting research. I need risk psychology books because that's the game I'm in. And that everybody ultimately, it's funny, all baby traders probably need help in that area more than they need to even know how to trade. But we put off understanding our emotions towards money. We put that off till later because we just want to get in the game. You want to understand the rules of the game. So like if you're going to join a basketball team, you got to know whether or not, if you double dribble or if you carry the ball, there's all these rules that go with it. And if you don't even know those, well, then you can't even play. So that's why everybody wants to just get in the game and start playing. But then next thing you know, there's the psychology of the game. How do you defeat the other team, right? It's not just by understanding the rules. And it's the same with investing on Wall Street. You're not going to win the big money just by understanding how to play the game. You need to get your psychology straight.
Yeah, that's something that's very overlooked. Everybody wants to just get the strategies, but they don't want to take the time to do the things that you don't really see. You don't see the psychology work that Josh, that you do, and that's something that I'm trying to hold myself to right now, because I'm a big because I was buying back in 2022. A lot of my plays I'm a big in now because it was during the bear market, and I literally told myself, like, you did You did some of the hard stuff, which is, getting in low and buying even though it was kind of fearful. Now, don't mess up the greed part. Don't get too greedy and try and catch the 10x or 20x or whatever and then be left holding the bag. That's the only thing at this point that's going to basically hold me back from realizing gains. And so I hope anybody listening to this really takes that fear and greed into consideration. And if you are up big, literally, somebody had said this. I forgot who said this, but someone said that no one ever went broke taking profit. Like, you literally can't go broke if you take profit, but you can by holding the bag and then having it reverse on you, and then you're not in profit anymore. So, but let's talk about the channel, man. Like, I know you had man, I forget his name. Is his name Mark, the one that you
Mark,
have on? And
yeah,
yeah, Mark.
Mark and
Yeah. So
Tim and handful of
any
guys.
absolutely. So anything new for the channel that you have on the time horizon or the Discord or
Yeah,
anything?
absolutely. So, in light of sort of the faster moving projects that I've been in, the higher risk, I'm wanting to shift to look at the total year of 2025 and look at leap options. And I'm actually partnering with Ashley, trading with Ashley. She has her own channel, and I'm bringing to that partnership some laser focused technicals, and she's helping dial in the best options, the best leap options, both the entry and the exit. So it seems to me at the moment that I'm targeting the entry and she's targeting the exact option and the ideal exit for profit to avoid, the various decay of time and theta. And so that's the big project right now. And yet the market has not really, we are really in a spot of extreme volatility and uncertainty. And so I think that all of the positions for the leaps folder will be taken here either right before this earnings that's already begun. So this next week we're going to get the bank stocks, but they're going to take some positions right before companies report or right after that are going to be held really for the next 12 months into 2026 is the portfolio, and it's largely going to be focused on all of the Magnificent Seven. There's going to be two layers of the portfolio. There's going to be the Magnificent Seven, so positions on all the big companies, and then it's going to be another one. I'll call it the higher risk one, which is going to be looking at positions on the quantitative, the computer companies and some different companies like Sound, QUBT. It's going to be a high risk portfolio. But I'm going to tell you right now that on those, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, those are largely looking like they're, the best play on those have been to short them. And I gave a hot trade alert this last week to go short on a couple of those down to, I think it was from like 13 down to 11. And they just came right down, printing hundreds of percentage points of profit. And they've hit $9. Now, I am expecting a little bounce, but at the moment, I'm more bearish on a lot of things. And so we're looking at long-term investing for the bigger move of 2025. And yeah, it's going to be tricky because we've got the inauguration and earnings, and we've got a market that's very, very skittish and quick to sell.
Absolutely. And that's cool that you and Ashley are partnering. It's always good to see, you, Keenan, I almost said Josh, you, Keenan, and Larry
Mo,
partnering like
Chris,
this. Mo.
Larry.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are like really tight and y'all really feed off of each other's strengths. That's really cool to see. I really like that. Shout out Ashley. Ashley's great. But yeah, I know I'm on the Stocks with Josh show right now, and then we're gonna do part two on my channel. But to introduce myself to everybody, my name is Myles Youngblood, and I do short form content with Stocks with Josh. We've been working together for the past year or so. Josh, you want to tell the people how it's been working in the short form content side
Yeah,
of things?
so Myles has been helping me with my shorts. So you guys see the cool shorts with graphics that are done, produced off of my long form content. Myles, the one that's been engineering that, him and his team, and it's been very helpful. It's provided some of my more focused views into short form content that people can absorb, not just on YouTube, but on other platforms like TikTok and Instagram. I will take a quick moment, first of all, to thank you, Myles, for the work that you've done. You've done a great job, and you've been an integral part of my success and my team. Thank you. And a lot of people don't know, Myles, they're in the wrong Instagram account for me. So somebody used my picture and my name when I wasn't heavily into Instagram, and they ran an
Mhm.
account up to 60,000 or subscribers. And the real Stocks with Josh on Instagram, most people are not in that. And I'm over there. I look at
That's
the fake
crazy.
account and my friends, and I got family members in the fake account. And I'm like, guys, get out of that fake, scam account and get into the real Stocks with Josh account. And so I just want to take a quick moment, guys, to let you know that I am posting there, and that some
Yep,
of you might be following a scam version of me. So please
that's
go look at
crazy.
that.
Yeah, I just looked it up. The real Instagram is Stock Josh Fam, and it's
Yep.
verified. So you got to look for the verified ticker and make sure you're in the right account.
Stock Josh Fam, is verified, and everything else is not me.
Yeah, there's no WhatsApp, there's no Telegram. Those are all scams, people. But yeah, Josh, it's been great working with you too. Great to see the Instagram grow. I think when we started, you only had like 300 followers. You wasn't really active on Instagram, and now that we've been working for some time together to bring more people over there, and more visibility to the channel has been absolutely great. If anybody wants to hit me up for work, I'm all ears. I could have the capacity to take on more clients for sure. And I also do work with Ashley as well. So I look forward to when you guys do more collabs to cut them up into shorts for both of y'all. That's going to be a fun project for sure.
Thank you, Myles.
Anytime. So I want to go over, I'm gonna make show notes, and it's always funny to see what things people click on, like because most people don't watch the whole interview. They're just like, okay, let me look at the notes. Let me see what I want to, what you call it? Let me just skip around, and I know everybody just wants to know, oh, what to buy. So we might as well give it to them, Josh. What are your top cryptocurrencies for this cycle?
Thank you guys for joining me today. This was the ending of part one. I'm going to continue this conversation with Myles on his YouTube page in a part two segment that you don't want to miss. We're going to be covering some more very interesting questions about what to expect in the market in 2025 with stocks and cryptos. Come check it out.